since I had a cold. And it's, I mean, people should stay safe out there and try avoid this weather. It's not a joke.
They should stay warm, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Now, the debt audit task force seems to, since the president announced it, it seems to, to be at loggerheads with certain people, right? And the recent one is the High Court that has temporarily suspended the implementation of the task force. What are Kenyans saying about that, and where did all that start from?
Well, Grace, the debt audit task force that was constituted by the president and actually made public through a gazette notice has run into headwinds with a lot of people online, especially those people who feel like it is not the right step to take, because I've had lawmakers, even online, by the way, lawmakers saying we've already had a public debt management office in the Treasury. There's a debt committee in Parliament that is actually auditing all this debt, and then now a debt audit task force. And also this comes at a time when the LSK president, Faith Odhiambo, has said she will not be joining the task force, and it is now unconstitutional. She terms it as unconstitutional, and that's also the stand of the Law Society of Kenya. And Justina Wamai, who was also nominated, said she will not be attending because she'll not be sitting in that task force because she's on maternity leave, and this will affect the delivery of those duties. And Kenyans also share in these thoughts that the Public Debt Audit Task Force, from the comments I'm seeing online, is the wrong step, because the data that is needed to audit the debt is already there. So what is needed is now to, try and figure out how to clear this debt. But as it stands, President Ruto is facing a lot of setbacks, from this petition in the court and now to the suspension of this debt audit task force. Remember, I think today he's supposed to ascend to the IEBC bill. And so there's talk around that as well, and whether the Gen Zs have actually managed to subdue him. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to see how that turns out. But as you've said, I believe Kenyans from the socials, they're attacking, the president, because it seems like everything he's doing of late, the Gen Zs are just on his neck, right?
Yes.
We're going to see how that turns out.
Absolutely.
Yesterday, doctors from camped outside Afia. It was Occupy MOH. And apparently they spent the night there outside the offices of Cabinet Secretary Susan Akumbincha. Tell us also about that.
Well, as you rightly said, they spent the night outside Afia House. From the photos that we were seeing online, we couldn't manage to get them here on air, but the photos that are trending online are those of doctors. And it's interesting, Grace. One of the most interesting things about this is that I don't even know where people got pillows and mattresses to sleep outside. Yes, exactly. And I found that very surprising. But be that as it may, doctors have been agitating for changes into how the medical interns are posted and actually asking for those letters, because KTN News spoke yesterday to Austin Odhiambo, one of the doctors who actually came from all the way from Homa Bay, and he was narrating his story of how he's tired and jet-lagged and he's coming to fight for his rights, and the gates are locked and not even an address from the cabinet secretary. And there was also talk of the union neglecting the striking medics. We are yet to verify that as well. But as of late night, there was no address from them, which Kenyans also are picking issue with online and trying to say, we've been in this fight together, and now where are you when you need you most? But of keen interest is that doctors are picking issue with how the government is spending money. And even online, there's, Twitter has a lot of doctors actually. You remember one of those who are allegedly abducted was a doctor. And so there's been talk around how the government is planning to actually execute this, even as the budget cut looms, Grace.
Ren, that makes me wonder, now that you're saying that you got a cold last night, I can imagine these doctors who spend the night outside, and it's chilly, right outside MOH. Oh God.
Yes.
We just hope that there is going to be an intervention from the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
Now, senators amended the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023, which has caused an uproar on the internet. Why is that?
Well, it is interesting, Grace. This is a very interesting topic because actually as I was coming to the office, it was trending at, I think, number 2. And this is basically because 2 very vocal senators are involved. And those senators are in the opposition, and they are said to have voted yes for this conflict of interest bill. That is Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna and Senator Ledama Olekina, who's Narok Senator. And it is interesting because this particular conflict of interest bill, from what I've seen online, I've not yet had access to the entire document, but from the sections being circulated online, and the discussions that have been going on television as well and online platforms, is that this particular bill aims to absorb the oversight of award of tenders and business between government and senators and literally rid conflict of interest from the discussion. And so Kenyans are picking issue with the fact that Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna has been vocal against the government malpractice and plan of resources. But in this particular bill, he actually seemed to have been on the other side. And he actually came out and said, you guys don't know what exactly we voted for, so please give me time and read the entire bill, which I found very, very funny, because he was also one of those people who are telling other lawmakers that Gen Zs are actually learned and they have read these things. So on this one, he seemed to be on the other side, as well as Ledama Olekina, who's Narok Senator. And we wait to see what that discussion, how that discussion goes and where it takes us to. But the talk is that Kenyans have had Ledama Olekina and Sifuna on the streets of Twitter, and they are battering them mercilessly.
All right, and now the DCI is yet to want to start a probe on the killings of Tom Mboya.
Yes.
The DCI is investigating the sale of the gun that allegedly killed him, right?
Yes, yes.
What are also Kenyans saying about that, and where did all this start?
Well, it's a very sticky issue, this one, Grace, because it's, I mean, it has the DCI involved, so we do not want to talk largely about it. But definitely, there was that talk about a man who claimed that he actually bought a gun. The gun was sold to a 92-year-old man who was claiming now that he was given money by powerful people in the government to buy this particular gun that had also been used to take down the former minister, Tom Mboya. That is as much as we can talk about it, but we wait for the DCI to actually investigate this particular issue. Remember, Grace, this mirrors also the current protests in the country. Remember when Tom Mboya was felled at that time, there was a lot of talk and a lot of protests. Remember, there was not as much Twitter action at the time because the social media had not come up as it has right now. But there was protests, fair to say, and there was a lot of decry from the public, and people actually wanted to know the truth. And even a week later, during Mboya's Requiem Mass at Holy Family Cathedral on April the 12th, angry protesters also ran into battles with the police, which is also kind of a thing we are seeing right now. So that conversation has become rife, but actually didn't expect DCI to pick issue with that particular story. But it seems they have it on their radar, and we wait for any communication from them to see what comes of it. But we also wait to see them lift the lead rather on this particular one, and see if we can come up with anything tangible that we can give to the public.